Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you with another video here. Today in the 4-game CSGO main slate on Monday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos breaking down NBA, NFL, PGA, and esports daily fantasy sports slates, esports including Call of Duty, League of Legends, and this one, Counter-Strike CSGO. So also just want to say thank you guys for all support. We're at 3.39 thousand subscribers on YouTube. If you guys enjoy this content, if you leave a like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts. Would appreciate if you leave a 5-star rating and review. Also, I just want to say sorry for not uploading a video for Sunday slate. Just did not have the time, unfortunately, but back out here from Monday slate. So, yeah, let's jump into the video. Before we get into players and the prices, we can look at the odds for these 4 games. So let's go over to gg.bet since they're not on Bovada yet. First game here, Vitality and Heroic. We have Vitality minus 250 favorites. We have OG and North, OG minus 238 favorites. NIP and Fnatic. This one's basically a pick'em. Fnatic slight favorites at minus 119. And then Big Godsent, the biggest favorites of the day at minus 435. So, let's start. Oh, they have the times wrong in here, I believe. Yeah, the OG game's the first game. They have that at noon, actually. So let's talk about the first game here, OG and North. OG's been an interesting team this last month. They have been absolutely terrible for a while, and now they're on a pretty hot streak. They've won the last 5 games. They've beaten some good teams, right? They beat Big, a really good team. They beat Heretics as well, Contact. So this OG team, again, they've been very inconsistent, but they're starting to click right now. So let's take a look at their prices here. We have Mantu at 8.4. I think that looks pretty decent. Valde at 7.6, and then Issa at 6K. Those are the 3 guys I'm looking to. The other 2 are probably stayaways. Now, the reason why I'm interested in Issa, he's at 6K. They're favorites here. Pretty decent numbers for a guy that cheap, right? 0.64 kills per round, 0.64 deaths per round. If you look at the other guys right above him, right? 0.59 and 0.66, and then MBK at 0.66 and 0.7. So Issa does have slightly better numbers than those guys, and he's cheaper. So that's why I'm for Issa as a cheap option on the slate. I think he looks pretty decent. Now with Mantu and Valde, I think both look pretty good. Again, this OG team has been really hot recently. Mantu 0.73 kills on 0.5 deaths per round, 5.9 deaths per round. Again, he uses the AWP. He can. He's the guy that has the most upside in this team. Definitely, he can really put the team on his back. And sitting at a pretty reasonable price there at 8.4. So I think he looks pretty good. Again, I think Valde at 7.6, right? 7.6 is still in play as well. Sitting at respectable numbers here, 0.69 kills per round, 0.62 deaths per round. That looks pretty decent for them being favorites, right? Price under 8K. So I think those are the 3 guys that are the most interested on the OG side. I think all 3 look pretty good. Let's talk about North now. So North is a team that kind of reminds me of Vitality a little bit, right? You have AZ that carries the squad. Now he's at 9.4K. Now he had a really good game. What was it? Against Movistar Riders, who went 76 and 55, 96 fancy points. Again, he has that potential upside to get you 80, 90, maybe even 100 if he's playing really well. Now, if you look at his numbers for the last 3 months, they're not great, but that's kind of because North has been struggling as a team recently. So I have interest in AZ, but I think he's the only one I would consider on this team. I just don't have a whole lot of confidence in this team right now besides AZ as like a one-off. So to be honest, I think everyone else is stay away. Like MSL, there's no way I'm paying 8K for him. Cajun B at 7K is a stay away. You know, Gade at 4.8, I think you could make an argument for just because the price point, right? He's not great numbers, but he's under 5K. So I think that's the only guy I would really consider, but still would not feel great about it. It's just more of a price point thing. So all in all, this North team, I think it's really easy for me. And at a price at 9.4, it makes him just a contrarian option on the slate. Next, let's talk about Vitality and Heroic. So, we got Vitality minus 250 favorites here. I think you got to have interest in Zywoo. I think he's priced about right now at 10K. Right, we've seen slates where he's been 9K in the mid 8K range. At 10K seems priced about right, but I still think, again, he's the best player on this slate. He has the potential to have, obviously enormous upside. So you can definitely fade Zywoo, right? You're going to have to sacrifice a little bit to get him in there. But he's just a scary fade because you know he's going to be popular, and we know if he plays well, you're already basically dead. But yeah, I think, Zywoo is, again, you're going to have to sacrifice a little bit, but he just has the potential to really break the slate. He's been playing great Counter-Strike, obviously recently, if you guys have been following it. Great numbers, too, 0.83 kills per round, 0.60 deaths per round. Right, he has the ability to make those big plays, the 1v2s, 1v3s, and 1v4 clutches. So you got to have interest in Zywoo. This is the price point thing now. I think he's priced about right. With everyone else in the team, Shocks, Apex, RPK, and Masuta, I think the next two guys I'm most interested in are Shocks and RPK. Now, Shocks has had some big games here recently. He's had games where he's put this team on his back. Now, Draftkings, for some reason, doesn't update some of their scores, but he's had some games where he's been in the 80s, 90s, and fancy points. So he has that ability. At 7K price point, I do have interest. Doesn't have great numbers, right? But he's slightly positive here, 0.66 and 0.63. Another guy that's been playing pretty well here is RPK. Just about even now as far as KD. He is the second cheapest on the team. So those are three guys I like for Vitality here. It's definitely Zywoo, the top play, but again, you're going to have to pay a premium for him. I think Shocks and RPK are interesting if you want to go a two-man Zywoo, or a two-man Vitality stack, I should say. Next, let's talk about the heroic side. So I know they're underdogs here, but the prices look pretty good in these guys. So I think, if you wanted to play a Zywoo and maybe use someone on the heroic side, I think that's a viable strategy because Zywoo's really expensive, and you're getting these heroic guys a really nice discount. It's top two guys here, Stavin and Nico, that definitely piqued my interest here. Stavin at 7K, Nico at 6.2. Again, that's really cheap. I know they're underdogs, but those prices look really good, especially on a guy like Stavin, right? He's been really playing well, 0.76 kills per round, 0.62 deaths per round, almost a 1.2 rating 2.0. That's really, really good for a guy at a 7K price point. And Nico as well has had games where he's looked pretty good. 0.72 kills per round, 0.64 deaths per round. For their respective prices, again, I think you can definitely make the argument for using players on both sides of this game, right? If you want to pay up for Zywoo and go someone cheap, I think you could go Stavin and Nico, right? As long as Heroic doesn't get 2-0'd, there is a good chance one of those top two guys crushes their salary, right? As long as Heroic doesn't get killed, and it's a close game, I think those top two guys, one of those top two guys will absolutely crush their salary. So I do have mentioned both those guys, even though they're underdogs. The rest of this roster, I think, are still viable. Kadian sitting at 0.66 kills per round, 0.61 deaths per round. He's at 6K. I mean, I would just prefer paying $200 more for Nico. Borup sitting again slightly positive, and then Tessus as well, 0.71 kills per round, 0.65 deaths per round. Again, I think you can make an argument for any of those guys. I think I guess my third favorite player would probably be Tessus first price at 5.4K. But all in all, the prices on this team, again, look pretty good. So I think you can use these guys as one-offs if you don't want to go a full heroic stack. Next, let's talk about the game that is, this one's kind of tricky to break down because it's basically a pick'em, right? We have NIP, Fnatic, two pretty even teams. If you look at the recent play, both pretty similar, right? NIP has won 3 of the last 5, Fnatic 4 of the last 5. Again, both teams I think are pretty evenly matched. The odds say so as well. So let's take a look at the prices here. On the NIP side, we have Plopsky at 7.4 and Nock at 7.2K. Again, the prices in those guys look pretty good. Now you have Twist at 6.8 and Rez at 6.6. If there's a little bit more of a price gap there, then I think I would start to consider Twist and Rez over Plopsky and Nock. But when they're so close in price, I don't know if I'm going to get to either of those guys over the top two. It's always those top two guys normally with Plopsky and Nock, unless there's a decent price gap between them and Twist. Now again, Twist has looked good at the op. He's got okay numbers, right? Even KD over the last 3 months. Rez basically the same. Hampus is a value play. Hasn't been great, but he's 4.6K, so it's really cheap, right? If you go in that Stars and Scrubs build, right, and you're going Zywoo and maybe a couple other stars, you're going to have to play at least one of those really cheap guys. So then I could see, make an argument for a guy like Campus. But really what you want there is the 2-0 sweep. Other than that, it's hard to really recommend those guys with confidence. So yeah, it's definitely going to be Plopsy and Knock for me on the NIP side as my top 2 plays. Let's talk about the Fnatic side next. So we have Brolon at 8.8, Crims at 7.6, and Flush at 7.2K. So when all 3 of those guys are priced about the same, I'm always going to go Brolon as my favorite. But now you're getting to the point where, what, $1,200 difference there with him and Crims, 16 with him and Flusha. So Brolon is still my favorite play, not considering price. But looking at the prices, I think I'm going to prefer a guy like Crims and maybe a guy like Flusha to Brolon. Crims sitting at 0.69 kills per round, 0.65 deaths per round, Flusha at 0.68 and 0.67. Then again, Brolon definitely has the best, but you're going to pay premium for him, 0.76 and 0.67. So I think if you can get Brolon in there, right, if you have the salary, get him in. If not, I think Crims would probably be the next guy I would look to. Him and Flusha are both viable, but I think I prefer Crims to Flusha. Golden at 5.2 actually has had some decent games recently. Again, he's kind of the same boat as Hampus. I think you only consider him if you think Fnatic wins 2-0. Other than that, it's probably going to be a stay away. JW at 6.6 seems priced about right. He uses the AWP. He's had decent games as well. So I think he's viable, right, but not my favorite play. Probably would just rather get a little bit more to Flusha or Crims, but it's a close call with those 3 guys that are in the mid-range. And then lastly, let's talk about Godsent and Big. Let's first talk about the Godsent side. So we haven't seen this Godsent side on the main slate in DraftKings in a little bit. This was, a relatively new roster with Farley coming on. So we have Farley at the top at 8.2K. He has the ability to break the slate, right? If Godsent is playing well and they're winning, Farley has that upside to put 80, 90, 100 fancy points when he's playing really well, right? 117, he has that type of upside. He uses the AWP. He's a very, very good player. You could argue right now he's one of the better Counter-Strike players in the world. So I have interest in Farley. Again, I know they're the biggest underdogs of the slate. It's a tougher matchup. I think for that reason alone, he's going to go very low owned. But I kind of like him in GPPs because just for that fact, right? He has the potential to break the slate, and he's going to be low owned. Crystal's complete stay away from me, even at that price. Psycho, Zen, and Madden at all in this mid 6K range, I think are okay. Right? They're not my favorite plays. They're the biggest underdogs. Again, you can really. In GPPs, you could go a Godsent stack, right? That's going to be a very, very contrarian build since basically everyone is probably going to have some exposure to Big. So if that's how you want to get different on the slate, I'm okay with it. But again, the guy I obviously have the most confidence in is Farley at the top. I think you can use him as a one-off as long as you think this game stays close, right? So if you want to use some of the chalky big guys and maybe run it back with a Farley, I think that's a viable strategy, right? I brought that up with Zywu and maybe running it back with some on the heroic side because of the cheap price points. Finally, let's talk about Big. So Big is a team that I can't seem to get right. It's kind of like the MIBR Fira game. I will never get it right. They're just a team. I continued to stack FaZe against them, thinking things would change, right? It's not changed. Then the one slate I played the big guys, they lost to OG 2-1. I'm just like, come on. And they come back and win 2-0. Again, obviously, I played FaZe against them, thinking things would change. It didn't. So this is a team I can't seem to get right. I know they're going to be very, very popular for the reason. Besides that loss against OG, they've been absolutely on fire. They've been very, very chalky the last few slates. So the biggest favorites on this one. So a guy like Xantres at 7.4K is going to be the ultimate chalk. I don't know why DraftKings does not move his price. He has been, arguably the best player on this big team the last week or two. He has great numbers for a guy that cheap. For them being huge favorites at 7.4K, he is going to be the most popular play in the slate. I think even more popular than a guy like Zywu. Xantres is your cash game. He's probably the best cash game play on the slate at 7.4K. Love him. Great numbers for a guy that is that big of favorites and that cheap, right? 0.77 kills per round, 0.60 deaths per round. Searson is at 8.6K. That's a little bit more expensive, but again, he's been playing really well with that 0.76 kills per round, 0.57 deaths per round, and then Tabson is well sitting at 0.75 and 0.64. So those top 3 guys all look really good. I think I'd rank them just for their prices, Xantres, Tabson, Searson, but you could make I think a popular build for tomorrow is probably going to be a 2-man big stack, so you're probably going to see Xantres paired with one of those top 2 guys. And then as far as the cheap guys, Tizen and Keto, I think they're still in play just because how well Big has been playing. And if you look at the numbers the last few months, they're both positive too, right? Tizen, 0.62 kills per round, 0.59 deaths per round. Keto, positive 2, 0.65 and 0.64. So at a 6.4 and 5.6K price points, I think both those guys are in play. I think this big roster in general all look really good for their prices. Definitely Xantra's being my favorite, but I think you can make an argument for anyone. This is definitely the team I feel the best about. But when I say that, they're probably going to come out and lose 2-0 to Godsent. But yeah, this is a team, again, for cash games. I think you're going to want some exposure. They're going to be probably the most popular team on tomorrow's slate. All right, so let's now talk about the slate for cash games and who I would consider for captain, right? So if I'm playing a cash game setting, right, so if you guys are new to DFS, cash games are just 50-50s, double ups. You don't care about ownership at all. You just want to play the optimal plays. So ownership does not matter at all. For that reason, it's probably going to be guys who consider in the cash game for captains would probably be Zaiwu, and then those big guys. Probably Xantras and Zaiwu would probably be the two top plays, in my opinion, on the slate. So, again, it would be a pretty short list for cash games. I think I would maybe only consider those two. I think you can make an argument for Tabs and Searson as well, but those are the guys that look the best to me. Now, for GPPs, again, I think, interesting strategy, which not a lot of people like doing, are playing players on both sides of a game. So, something you could consider is, maybe play Zaiwu with one of those cheap heroic guys, right? Because the price points of those top two guys look really good. Or maybe you want to play the chalk big. Maybe you just want to play one guy and run it back with Farlick, right? Farlick's going to be super low owned, but he has the ability to break the slate at that price. Again, I like him a lot for GPPs because no one's going to play him. On the OG side, right, a guy like Issa looks pretty good for value. Mantu as well has, the ability to play really well. On the north side, it's probably just easy for me. Vitality, again, it's Zaiwu definitely, but then Shocks and RPK have been in good form recently. The NIP Fnatic game, this is a game where it's tough. It could go either way. So I think if you get this game right, you're going to be in really good shape. It's probably the top two guys there at NIP for me. On the Fnatic side, for his price, probably my favorite play would be Crims, but again, Flusha, JW, even Bolon, if you want to pay a little bit more, are all viable. And then Godsent, again, it's Farlick. I think makes for an interesting one-off for a GPP build. And then obviously the big side looks great, right? Xantras is going to be the most popular play, in my opinion, tomorrow. But Taps and Searson, you can even make argument again for Tizen or Keto if you need value. They've been playing really, really well as a team. If you get that 2-0 sweep, right, that's always great. So, yeah, I think that's going to do it for today's video, guys. So if you haven't enjoyed the content so far, I'd really appreciate it if you could like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell. Again, doing those things really helps me out to continue to grow this channel. But yeah, thanks again for everyone coming to check out the video. Hope you guys all have a good night. Hope you had a good weekend. And I will see you all in the next video.